Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Press Play Lifestyle Inspired podcast, where we do interviews with interesting and inspiring people like our friend Dallas today to help you find the resources, tools, and support that you need to be your best inspired self. How you doing today?
Doing great, Jackie. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking some time out of your day to talk to us and tell us what you're up to. We appreciate it very much.
I was excited about it.
Oh, thank you. So, Dallas, just why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I currently live. I've been here, born and raised all my life. And, it's kind of the small, big town down in the corner of southeastern corner of Tennessee. Pretty cool little area. And you know, I'm not typical to Nashville. I guess most people move to Nashville. I kind of wanted to stay around my little town, do country music here, and broaden from there.
Yeah.
I've got a couple kids. Well, actually, 3 kids. I started early, so they're kind of up in their own world now, and it's been blessed to get to do what I love to do.
That's amazing. Actually, I'm actually right now I'm in the Midwest. I live in Wisconsin, but we
Okay.
moved around a lot as kids, and you may actually know what I'm talking about when I tell you where we lived for a while. It was a little town called Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, near Gatlinburg, which everyone knows
Yeah.
Gatlinburg, but yeah.
A little vacation area.
Yeah, it was beautiful. They
Oh
actually
yeah.
had weather, which was nice because
Yeah.
we needed to have some cold or we might have died.
Yeah. And the mountains.
Yes, the mount. And
The
my
mountains are
my dad is
fascinating.
a motorcycle rider, so
Mhm.
he would take me up in the mountains, like the North Carolina mountains too, and
Oh yeah.
lots of waterfalls out there, just
Hmm.
everywhere. It's so
Lots of hiking, and it's just beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome.
I've been planning
So
to go there lately.
yeah, well, and you probably can, right? Because they
Oh
can't
yeah,
do the road.
that's always our little weekend hop, because it's only about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So you can go up there and have a good time.
Yeah, it's nice. I joke, but it wasn't actually funny. There was a little Hatfield McCoy thing that happened once,
Oh,
kind of in front of our house, like a family in a pickup truck
oh yeah.
and another family in a pickup truck. It was very, very old school. I was like,
Yeah.
what the heck? This is crazy.
Nah. Yeah.
It's just,
Well,
yeah,
that's cool. Then you understand our climate. It's very humid here. I walked outside for 5 minutes and started sweating. So
yeah. You're like, oh, I gotta go back in. I gotta be on the radio.
yeah, yeah. Literally, I walked outside just to work on the lawnmower, and boom, just sweating like crazy. So the humidity is unreal.
Yeah, that sucks. So why don't you do what? Obviously, you're out touring on podcasts and being interviewed
Yeah,
by everyone, and
for
so
sure.
that I mean something's probably coming up. What's going on in your life that's exciting right now?
Well, I've got a new song coming out August the 28th of this month.
Woo!
Little outlaw country. I wrote with a couple of guys, and they're known in the songwriting world, Casey Carpenter and Josh Ogle. They early on they had some really good releases with Kane Brown, um, and did some things. Sorry about that. Did some things with him early on. So it was really cool to get the opportunity to write with them guys. But we wrote an outlaw country song. It's called "There's an Outlaw in Us All," and
That's
just
fun.
talks about growing up being a little goody, and all the innocence leaves, and everybody has a little bit of an outlaw in them at some point.
Yeah, that's awesome. I bet it's fun. I grew up listening to. I think I'm probably much older than you, but I grew up listening to like Randy Travis and Patsy Cline and Garth Brooks. So,
Yeah,
but I kept listening all through time, and I love the way that it's evolved. Country's cool too now,
for
right?
sure. Oh yeah, and a lot of it's rolling back. I've had a lot of fun and some success doing a lot of '90s country stuff. And I did last year, before everything got complicated. I did a little 90 to 99 tour is what I call it. So I went through like each year and did 2 hit songs from each year, and it was just kind of like a little '90s history
Mm-hmm.
lesson, on stage. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And
Do you have one that you like during that 90s to 99? Was there one that you was more fun than you expected, where it turned out to be kind of a cool play?
Yeah, there was a old song called "Dust on the Bottle," and I always liked this song, but I learned that when it came time to do that song, I always look forward to it. Just a really fun little job, you know.
Yeah.
But I grew up, you know, Steve Wariner, Garth Brooks, like what you're saying, all them people, Clint Black, and just that's what I knew, you know.
So were you like the guy that always sang, like started out singing country when you couldn't talk yet, that kind of guy?
Yeah, and really, honestly, my background was in gospel music in church, and so early on as a teenager, I sang in church, and just I never really hit the party scene or anything like that. I sang with some other guys, and then in my early 20s, I traveled all over the country singing gospel music in a quartet. So we had a bus, and it was the oldest guy was like 26 years old, and the youngest was 18. So it was, you know, 5 guys from 18 to 26 in a bus, and we're just every weekend we're all over the country, and so it was a lot of fun, and it's a miracle we lived. I mean, even
Like that many young guys in a bus.
yeah,
Scary.
it was unreal. I mean, we from, you know, Canada down, you know, we just played everywhere, and so I spent about a little over a year doing that, and it was a great experience.
That sounds
But that
amazing.
was my background.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. There's I actually grew up in a place called Beloit, Wisconsin, and there's Danny Goki was from there, and his background story is very similar. Like grew up just singing in church, and
Right.
just kept going with the thing that he loved. So, is there anything to the song you just co-wrote about being kind of a good guy, and then having a
Yeah.
little outlaw in you after that whole gospel singing story song?
Yeah. Well, growing up in church, obviously, I never took a drink of alcohol till I was 35 years old. And, you know, so I just always tried to do everything straight laced and all that. And, but I got into bluegrass gospel, cut a couple albums in that world, and got to open up for a lot of larger, more popular people in that world. And that's kind of what led to, after I went through some things in my life, had a few changes. I just picked up a guitar, you know, and I'd always sang and played, but just found myself leaning on it to kind of get through the hard times. And I really turned to music, and, you know, really just myself, not even thinking so much about a career in country music. But one thing led to another, and saw this little button on Facebook one time that said "Go Live." So I was like, all right. I didn't know what I didn't know what it was like, or I'd only had Facebook a few months, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hit that "Go Live" button, and here I am. It just started falling. So I guess the biggest thing is I just went after what, you know, it's like, if it feels good, go with it. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, just kind of whatever door opens up, just walk through and see what happens.
That's amazing. And I think that one of the things I found to be so amazing as I get this wonderful opportunity to interview folks like yourself is during this kind of crazy time, a lot of people are realizing for themselves how important music is to them during times when
Absolutely.
things are rough, right?
Yes. It's unreal. After, you know, things started changing and shutting down, a lot of my gigs, well, just about all of my gigs really got canceled. You know, everything we had going on had a lot of things going, and it just all went to a stop. So I'm sitting at home, you know, by myself day in and day out, you know, and people would start messaging me, and they were just like, "Hey, are you going live? Are you going live? Are you going live?" And they started really, you know, craving that. You know, people was really, really leaning on. So I even went back and did some gospel sessions and stuff where, you know, because people really turned to their faith and things like that. So it was pretty awesome to be able to do things like that to encourage people.
Yeah. And so you say you went back to gospel. Is that something that's unusual for you? Like, have you kind of stayed pretty heavy in the country lane since?
Yeah, I mean, I have people try to get me to do gospel and stuff. And when we're out, at a bar or in a concert venue or something, and everybody's having a good time, I'm not the guy that wants to come in the end and try to give an altar call or anything like that. So I just kind of separate all of that, There's a time for everything. And so I just always refuse to play any gospel, and people try to get me to end with, and even other artists, if I played with other artists, they were like, why don't we collaborate and end the night with a song? And I'm like, no, I'd rather not, because, everybody's there having a good time and all that. I think there's a time for everything. Yeah. And, there's a time for gospel. And I actually, the other day, I played in a sunflower field north of Chattanooga that was so beautiful in this valley, and it was just full of sunflowers. And so I was nobody, there wasn't a whole lot of people really drinking or partying or anything. It was a really relaxed setting. So I just sang some gospel songs, and so I try to separate the two,
Yeah, just felt a little more right in that circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more comfortable with that. I love singing both, but I don't really like mixing the two. Like I said, there's time for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. So you just alluded to something. So I'm wondering if you said sitting there all alone all the time. So is there no one special in Dallas's life right now, or what's going on with that?
Well, it's a roller coaster, musicians get a bad rap sometimes. And that's really the truth. I found it way more difficult to be in a relationship now because of the stigma, that's on things. And there's always the, fake accounts reaching out to people and trying to sabotage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I dealt with that just recently. I've dealt with it 24 times probably. It's just, there's always something, and you already have enough strikes against you just because there's this rock and roll, mentality that, I guess you could say sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or whatever. But, and don't get me wrong, I've had my share of fun, but, certainly that's not, sustainable for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
So, you do end up spending a lot of time alone. Friends, a lot of times they end up, not understanding really what you do. I've found a lot of that. I've lost a lot of people to things like that because they couldn't really relate to what I do. And so it's things like that.
I wonder if it's difficult for you now being like, is one thing being a single guy and traveling around the country, and it's another thing being a single guy locked in his house by himself.
Yeah, you can't date during a shutdown, I promise you that, because if you did try to, which I've never done any like dating apps and all the things like that. Nothing against whatever people want to do. It's just
not your gig.
Yeah, it's not really. I like to see people. I like to be able to see them, and like right there in front of me, and actually talk to them and all that instead of reading the profile. That's just me. But you can't get any date when people are scared they're going to die of a disease, So.
For real, yeah. That's crazy. So, I mean, I wonder for you with being like a performer, you probably like to be in front of people and like to hear that, people enjoy your music. Are you struggling at all being like home a lot and also not having really anyone around, or?
I mean, it's become more of a way of life, my son moved in with me recently, which he's 18. So he's, I got kind of my buddy here with me. And then, we got a dog outside and I got a little land. I can go throw the ball. Of course I work too, because, with everything stopping, I can't just sit around doing nothing. So I actually had the privilege of a couple of years just being full-time music, so I went and done something, the day job I really love. And, until that time comes where everything's so busy that it don't make sense anymore. But yeah, it's an adjustment, I think it was a really bad time to be single.
Yeah, I suppose it would be, right? And there's, like you said, if you're not really kind of a Tinder person, or, even the Christian
Yeah,
mingles and all of that, then where are you going to go? And even the church, like by
yeah,
us, the church is shut down. Like they're not even,
right.
you can't even go to services and meet anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
Bars
exactly.
are shut
And if
down.
you walk out in public, everybody's staying 6 feet apart. So
Yeah, exactly. With a mask on, you have no
yeah,
idea.
with a mask
She
on,
might
can't
have
even tell
like,
if she's pretty or not. You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah, she got like 18 teeth in the front. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, man, will you take that mask off? You know?
That's so funny. Oh, yeah. So how's your boy doing then? Is he liking
Oh,
spending time with dad?
yeah. Well, it's obviously an odd time to graduate high school and start your life. So he's fixing to kick into some college, but he's a big ball player, and it's really been cool having him around. Um,
Nice.
I'm very proud of him.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
but this is all challenging for everybody. So many people have had lifestyle changes that don't look like it's going to end anytime soon, and really finding the way to make the best of all of that. Figure out how to take lemons and make lemonade, as the old saying goes, is really the key.
Yeah, you seem like a pretty positive guy considering all you've got going on. And
Well,
that's
you have to be. When so many things change at once, it doesn't even matter how bad or whatever. Humans are not good with change.
yeah,
I'm certainly not. And between change and uncertainty and all those things, you have to say, all right, what's next, and set a plan and get dedicated.
absolutely. So, one of the things that I've heard other artists talk about a little bit, which I thought was really fascinating, was about creating music during their time in isolation. And most of them said that they didn't create it or about the feelings, because like songs show up later.
Mm.
Like not they don't show up in it because you're in it and you don't know how to process
Yeah.
it. It's like an after thing. Is that something you relate to as well? Kind of.
Oh, for sure. I think I kind of shut down a little bit on that, just because I didn't want all of these thoughts and memories that I have now to reflect in my music in the future. And that's the honest truth. And I'm not really a fan of things that I do here that are crisis current related. I'm not saying that they're in a place for it. I'm just saying personally, I'm not a fan of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like more generic music that is timeless versus, on a beautiful day 5 years from now, when you're riding down the road and a song comes on that brings you back to now, to me, that would be kind of like a buzzkill.
That's true. That would not be good. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I mean, one of the old, I say cliches that people used to say about country music when I was growing up was like, there's always something bad, right? Your dog died, your truck
Yeah.
broke, your gun didn't load, right? And
Yeah.
but that's not how all the music is. It certainly doesn't sound like it's how your newest song is. So do you try to
Yeah.
have a more of a like a positive flair to the songs you do, or is it mixed
Well,
bag?
yeah, I mean, you definitely want things that people can relate to. So, I want to have music that a lot of people can relate to, even if it's emotional, romantic, or if it's, badass outlaw country, or the last song, and we'll be doing some things with it soon, called Rodeo and Juliet. It's just about a guy that had a bull riding girlfriend, and
Oh, cool.
so it's real Western cowboy type thing, modern day Chris LeDoux, I guess, is
Yeah,
kind of the feel.
that sounds super fun. So
Yeah.
where can people find your music so they can support you and what you're doing, from their perspective?
Yeah, certainly Spotify is a good place for people to go to, uh, and iTunes, Apple. But I'd love to encourage everybody to follow me on Instagram. That's a place that I've started putting more effort in. There's been a lot of changes in social media as well, and it's been kind of difficult to understand where to put time and effort, money, and all those things. because of algorithms changing, things like that. So Instagram seems to be somewhere that people are kind of drawing to, and a good place to kind of keep up with what's going on, when release dates will be, and any kind of events. So Dallas Walker Official on Instagram, and all my buddies always cut up with me about that one. Here comes Dallas Walker Official.
Is there like a Dallas Walker unofficial? Like,
right, yeah,
so that's
unofficial.
on the
Right.
app, right? That's the app where they made the fake name and the fake account for you so that you
Yes, yeah, you got to watch that stuff.
can watch that stuff. Well, Dallas, is there anything that you would like to share with the audience, or any parting words you'd like to leave with everybody before we end our time together today?
Yeah, well, certainly thank you for allowing me on this podcast, and I wish you all the success and blessings going forward. And Core Entertainment, they've been really great helping me out, and all the other artists out there beating the ground, and keep digging, let's get through this. And everybody out there, just hang in there. We're gonna come out on the other side. Things may be different, but the sun will shine on us later.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dallas. Really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
our time together. You have a great day.
Absolutely. You too.